Hey Norwalk, there's a mayoral race coming up shortly, and Jonathan Riddle is running against him. If you look on screen, you will see that this is the Facebook, YouTube video of the debate last night, and you've got to watch it. I'll tell you why. Because Jonathan Riddle right here, who's running, who's my neighbor, and this is Harry Rilling. Harry's running a check fraud problem. Yes, he is. To the benefit of Judge Adams and other judges, Bank of America's attorneys are robbing Norwalk residents. There are 1,239 cash stolen checks we're questioning, and the first one I gave to Harry Rilling was a $250,000 check. So there's $47 million missing. When you look at the facts, it's disturbing. So, if you read the mayor's emails to the Detective Bureau, it's important. For example, oh, by the way, this is the mayoral debate on my Facebook page, which is available. But if you look at this mail server, this is a file on Harry Rilling. This is page 1 of 900 pages. If you read the dialogue between Randall and Maloney, this is actually instructions from the mayor not to investigate check fraud. It says, tell Mr. Flynn to sit in a long line of complaints that will never be investigated. Really? Here we go. Look at the file. It discusses here, look in this section, Muggs is Detective Maloney's nickname. And it says, there'll be plenty of opportunity to complain later, that he has to wait until that time. Okay, we've been waiting for 21 years. Tell the chief to keep the seat warm for me when he does complain, and that I didn't tell Mr. Flynn how long that complaint line is against Muggs. So here we go. The lead detective in the financial crime unit, who claims to be an expert, has hundreds of thousands of complaints against him about check fraud. That's what it's saying. When you look at the debate between Riddle and Harry Rilling, Riddle takes the high road, truthfully. I mean, Harry owns the daycare facility where a child was killed, and it wasn't investigated. No, it wasn't. His daughter wasn't arrested for a very long time. Turns out there was criminal activity going on, and the mayor is liable. He owns the property. But it's never been prosecuted. Well, gee, how many crimes can they commit that they're not prosecuted on? I have a long list of them, and this file behind me in this computer is filled with emails back and forth with various parties of criminal acts that were committed, preserving them, and I do have affidavits. But when I'm questioning these responses to the mayoral race, let's go back. If you go back to this,
more small businesses as well as large to be fixed is the traffic disaster, as I mentioned.
I would play the whole
going
thing.
Around Norwalk this morning in the rain.
Because his responses,
it is just
the mayor that is, about the POCD, Plan of Conservation, there is no plan of conservation. I have filed for the sixth time a lawsuit against stone crushing because 285 victims in Norwalk have suffered from it, and 10 recently died that were plaintiffs in the case. Terry Joyner at 25 Quintard suffered from thyroid cancer. Mary next door, thyroid cancer. The next house has a mother and son with asthma. The next house has a butcher with asthma. If you go in the other direction, And these are, keep in mind, these are three houses, three blocks from stone crushing, Woodward and Meadow Street. There's a house on 1 Sheridan where the mother has brain cancer. The daughter and the son both are ill. There are houses where the children, on Lincoln, for example, there's a house where the kids have chronic nosebleeds. There is oil in the backyard. The car crusher at Meadow Street is directly behind the house. And that chromium, arsenic, heavy metals, all those things are seeping into the ground. We've complained to the deep numerous times, Department of Environmental Protection. They have never called us back. We met with Snelling, on his last day before he retired. Finally, he met with us, and then he promptly retired. But it is very similar to the Aaron Brockovich story. Having 285 victims of asthma, there's one family, the Priest family. They lived on Woodward, okay? 6 out of the 7 people in the family had cancer. 2 recently died, okay? The last one who didn't get cancer was mute, had many different disabilities, and suffered numerous strokes, all caused by toxins from multiple places that he's lived. Not only Norwalk, that's the problem. Camp Lejeune, he was a Marine. So, when you look at the high road that Mr. Riddle took, is because he doesn't want to throw Harry too far under the bus. But in all reality, I'll be in Scotland before him, if you get my meaning. And I want to impress on you that it's very critical that you understand the emails from our mayor alleged that, well, I allege that while they were cashing stolen checks, they falsified statements in the file, serious falsified statements. They claimed, among other things, that I was a domestic terrorist. Hold on a second. We have millions of shares of stock missing from our accounts. We own a 250,000 Paladin Labs that we bought at $1. That was taken over at $150. That's 37 million right there. One stock. We have thousands of stocks in our account. We have Alteryx, Virex, Regeneron. We have Google, for God's sake. We bought Google at 85. It's in one of those accounts. We bought it at 85. It went to 650, split, and went to 650 again. So when you think about the amount of money that Harry Rilling is sitting on, from instructing the Detective Bureau not to investigate check fraud when they are behind aiding and abetting a criminal enterprise, funding Bank America attorneys who in return fund the campaign of Jim Himes. Now, Riddle ran against Jim Himes last year, did a good showing. I think he got 40% of the vote. So there's lots of enemies of Jim Himes, but the Connecticut cabal and the check writing fraud departments are working together to target certain people allowing check fraud and looking the other way. That's what your mayor does. His statements about the direction of Norwalk, that was all, you got to watch it to believe it. I mean, if you knew what's happening, you know, for example, I just got this in the mail yesterday. It's from the Independent Party. It basically says that per student funding in Norwalk is $938 per person versus $10,858 for Hartford. It tells us that for every dollar we send to Hartford, we get about 7 cents back. Okay? So if you look at the student enrollment, if you look at what's happening in Stamford, Bridgeport gets $185 million for their students. Hartford, $205 million for the students. New Haven, $158 million for the students. Norwalk, $11 million. Stamford, $12 million. They're getting 15 times as much money as we are. Bridgeport received $185 million for their kids. Okay? We were taxed $155 million and got 11 back. What's going on here is the exterior profitable towns with higher incomes are funding the large cities which have fraud running rampantly through them. Look at Bridgeport. They took, the state rep of Bridgeport just stole $661,000 and was arrested. Yes, it was COVID money. Here we go. No checks and balances. That's what happens with Rilling. They don't care how much money they spend because it's your money. Do you understand? While collecting a pension and a mayoral salary, all he's doing is hiring more people and delegating every responsibility to someone else. Watch him speak. He takes there is no accountability in Norwalk. Okay? Look at what the walk bridge is doing. Look at what the mall is doing. Look at what's happening to the police departments. Look, they just had 2 resignations of 2 police officers who were drinking on the job. Is that a reflection on the mayor? Yeah, he used to be police chief. Yes. Is the check fraud problem only here because the mayor controls the detective bureau? Yes. The problem here is, you ready? Can't get any responses. Email after email. Don't give police reports to John Flynn. Really? Well, I filed 21 FOIAs with the city. Never got a response. Now we have a fire tree problem. A big one. Fire tree is a prison on my street. It's a big problem. They lied to the judge 6 times. The trial was scheduled for November 3rd. It was canceled this week. Why? By the cabal. Who's the cabal? The judges. Provader, Heller, Jacobs, Gennario, Kavanuski, Kremrich. I could go on and on. There's over 25 judges with criminal conflicts of interest operating our state court in Stamford. What we need to do is collect affidavits of any judicial misconduct. I need them right away for a case that's pending against 12 judges. We're going to add more judges. We're going to add more plaintiffs. We're going to add more defendants. It's going to get to the root of the problem. We need to clean the judicial house. Thank you very much. Please vote for Riddle. I endorse him. The fact remains, anyone is better than Harry Rilling, who is running a check fraud in Norwalk. Not a small one, a very large one. My last 28 mortgage checks were cashed and stolen. Not my last ones, the ones prior. The ones that were paid to Wells Fargo, stolen. So there's a foreclosure. Hello, it's my second. I've never missed a payment on my mortgage. However, I'm not getting credit because Maloney allows banks to siphon money and sell the mortgage. Siphon money and sell the mortgage. There's no loan history on my mortgages. Why? Because the checks that we write are getting cashed and Maloney is running it. Have a great day.